My name is Dehasa Hill. I am councilman for Oneida Nation. This will be my second non-consecutive term. Primarily, my role is a legislator. So I'm the vice chair of the Legislative Operating Committee. So we kind of promulgate the nation's laws and policies, whether that be employment law, agricultural strategies, pretty much anything under the sun that you would see in a state or a local or even the federal government. As Oneida Nation, we have to cover many of those same aspects, so we need appropriate legislation and policy in place as well to ensure that services are being provided and that we're ensuring the health and safety of our community at large as well. We've grown significantly over the last 30 years, both environmentally and socially and economically, and we've had a large impact on our northeastern Wisconsin's region, as we employ about 2,700 people, full-time employees, and we have over the years also started many economic endeavors to diversify our revenue from just gaming dollars. So we've started a bank. Bay Bank is a 100% Oneida-owned bank. We've also started OTI, which is a environmental remediation company, and they are not just a small company. They actually do have contracts worldwide, as far as Guam and South Korea, Hawaii, Alaska. They cover both the coasts of the United States. So that's a growing industry that we've been promoting and getting contracts and work throughout the country and parts of the world, and so that's very, I think, very important and impressive that in a 100% owned Oneida company has that type of presence in the world. For many years we've had our health center, which has continued to grow and expand over the years. We went from a very small facility on the south end of our reservation to a newer facility about 14-15 years ago in the central part of the reservation, and almost immediately after moving in, we outgrew it and started running into space issues already, because the amount of programming that is being able to service our community. I don't know, this land here was traditionally Menominee and Ho-Chunk territory. So originally, Oneidas were from New York. We had about 6 million acres or so of our own territory there, and with the spread of the colonists and the Europeans coming in, we found it more and more difficult to maintain our way of life the way that we were used to, and so we made the choice. There were several different groups at different time periods made the choice to move west, and to seek out a new homeland within our Indian brethren. So 1820s and 1830s, we had purchased this land from the Menominees, which was, I believe, about 3 or 4 million acres. So from Door County all the way down past Oshkosh was Oneida territory at that time. And during that time period, as more and more Oneidas started to move into the area from New York, the Supreme Court actually ruled that a tribal nation could not buy or sell land from another tribal nation. So that's how, in this particular instance, how the federal government came in, and actually that was the first step in reducing our reservation from what we had purchased down to about 500,000 acres, and then eventually down to the 65,400 acres that we now have established as our federal reservation. That's like a very common interest, is keeping our language strong and preserving it, and not just preserving, but actually learning it and using it so that it stays alive and vibrant. And so we had 3 clans, the Turtle, Bear, and the Wolf, and each one of those clans had 3 chiefs. And so the clan mothers of each of those clans would select amongst the men at the time their best, who they seen in their eyes would best fit the qualities that were needed to be a chief, a leader in our community. And so that's quite a bit different than having elected at large. How we believe that we're all connected. We're not just human beings aren't just the supreme being on this earth. We all need to be able to relate to the nature and the wildlife, because that's what sustains us and that's what gives us our quality of life. So it's very important that, you know, we take care as much as we can, because the environment takes care of us. So it's kind of reciprocal. So we need to make sure that we're doing our part as best we can in the society that we live in now. I mean, there's essentially no going back to, you know, our traditional living in longhouses and, you know, collecting wood for fire and for heat. And we can still grow, you know, our own foods, as we have a large farm. You know, we have a large ag farm, about 5,000 acres, and about 400 head of black Angus beef and a couple hundred head of buffalo. So, you know, we're all trying to do our part to make our community sustainable, and part of that sustainability is being able to feed our community and have clean drinking water for our community. Without those two things, you know, this would be a desolate desert where not too many people want to live. You know, so it goes a long way into sovereignty, as well as being able to provide those basic needs for health, human safety, you know, food, water, and shelter. So, and there's always going to be small issues here and there, or large issues here and there, but I think as long as we work together and identify those problems and work as a group and a community and a nation to identify what that is and try to find the best solutions, you know, that's the best way moving forward for us, is, you know, working together.
Oneida Nation, as you know, is a member of three primary components of the Oneida Nation: Oneida West, Central, and East. Central from New York originally. And that opens the door to the Haudenosaunee, which is the Seneca, the Cayuga, the Onondaga, the Oneida, the Mohawk, and the Tuscarora. And within that is a whole complex design of our worldview, our indigenous knowledge, and also the relationships, again, between those six.